Welcome back to the Flow Friday Sports Show on Flow FM. It's time for us to have a look at the River Murray Netball Association with Pat Brown. G'day, Pat. How are you going?
I'm good, thanks, Dan. How are you?
I'm going well, thank you. I'm keen to hear about a couple of these games from the weekend. There was one in particular that we pegged as being a really interesting game with big finals ramifications on the line, and that was between Mannum and The Ramblers. And Mannum got the win in front of their home fans, 60-48, so an important win for the Roos.
I didn't think it would be a 12-goal margin. That sort of surprised me a little bit. But with the height that Mannum have and the experience that they have, particularly in defence, I'm probably, not all that surprised. But I thought Ramblers might have been able to control the ball through the centre court a bit better to be able to get the ball into their goalies. But they obviously struggled through the defensive pressure. But it would have been a great game to watch. And it was probably one of those games where the scoreline doesn't quite tell the full story. It's one of those games where, it looks to be going pretty close and everything, and then you suddenly realise there's a blowout on the score. But there's would have been a lot of experience on that court. I wanted to go and see it, but I wasn't well enough, so I actually got to miss out on it. But I can only imagine both teams would have given 100% commitment, and at this stage, Mannum came out on front. So that's going to make it very hard for Ramblers this week up against the Suns. But, yeah, that would have been a really hard-fought game, Mannum Ramblers.
Certainly would have, and it's a shame that you weren't able to get out to watch it. Feeling all better now?
No, getting there. Still just at the dregs of it all, these winter bugs.
I was going to say, we're into the dregs of winter, so hopefully it doesn't linger too much longer. Hopefully you're able to get out to some action tomorrow. It was a bit of a scare for the Mallee Storm against Tailem Bend. They won it 44-38, so they take the points, but it's a fair bit closer than I think we were both expecting.
Tailem have been working really, really hard on bringing their game up to the competitive nature of the top sides. But Tailem also play, because they have so many short players, particularly in the attack end, they play a very stop-start style of game because the shorter players have got to get in front of the tall players. So at times it seems to be a bit of an old-style, slow game, but it's what they have to do to be able to feed their goalies in the ring. And sometimes it just makes the game look a bit uncoordinated and a bit slow. Now, if you're Storm and you're tall and you're used to these tall running players and everything like that, the totally different style of game can throw you. And I would imagine that is probably what happened, is they weren't used to this in front, going forward, short passing, making everything as low as possible. And it probably did confuse Storm a little bit because it's not what they're going to come up against in the finals. But Tailem always seem to have this style of game that does bring the opposition teams down to their style of play.
A win is a win for the Storm, especially with second spot on the ladder between them and the Suns. Still something of a hot contest. Two other games for us to look at, and they were both blowouts with very similar scorelines. Let's start with the Imperials over the Coorong Cats, 75-29.
Imps had to travel all the way down to Tinsnara, and I wasn't 100% sure whether some of the Imps players, because of work commitment, would have been able to commit to that time frame. But obviously they did. I mean, at quarter time it was 23 to Imps and only 7 to the Cats. So Imps would have gone out full strength, no worries, we're going to get control of this game and we're going to take it. But I've been reading the Cats report that they submitted, and for a team that has struggled all season, started off with the loss of players and everything like that, they really give credit to how good a team Imperials actually are, and they recognise that. They battled for the whole game. The first quarter was a 7-23, and then after that, Cats increased a little bit, Imps slacked off a little bit, but certainly not enough to give them a chance to think they were in it. But what I really loved in the report is they said it was a great game, was played by all players, and we wish Imps all the best in the 2024 finals. And it's very hard for a team down the bottom of the table to actually recognise that, yes, we've struggled all season, but these other teams are going on to success, and they wished them well. And I thought that was great sportsmanship by Cats.
Very nice by the Cats indeed. A good show of sportsmanship, which we always love to see in local sport. So that one was 75-29. Similar margin here, 73-28, the Southern Suns over Jervois.
Yeah, the Suns are stamping that we're still here, we're still around, we're still going to be competitive. They only beat Mannum by a goal the other week, and it could be Mannum that they face in the final, so they want to really stamp that they're on a par and they are competitive right to the very end. And Jervois would have come up against a very determined Suns because they want to get as much percentage as they can. I mean, their game gap was 45, Imperials and Cats was 46. So those two games would have been one-sided in the scoreline, but knowing the players involved, the games would have been very competitive.
All right, let's get into tomorrow's action. A couple of very intriguing matchups. And before we look at that, just very quickly, Mannum 4th at 7-7, Mypo and the Ramblers with a game in hand, just behind them at 6-7, very close on percentage as well. So these games are going to be crucial. None more crucial than Mypo hosting Mannum tomorrow with the Tigers fresh off the bye.
Last time they played, it was only a one-goal victory to Mannum. Mypo aren't going to lay down for them. This really is, I think, the game of the round for tomorrow. There is height over the court for both teams. Defensive pressure from Kelly McGorman in Mannum. If they put her on the young, tall Charlie Lewis in like Charlie plays goal shooter, if they put Kelly on goalkeeper, I think she really could be the player that will bother Charlie enough to make her second-guess her holds and her leads. Nadia Martin and Eden Thomas in defence with Sarah Jewell at wing defence for Mypo are going to make the attacking lineup of Mannum work very, very hard to penetrate the rings. And you can't get over Stacey Smith for Mypo in its centre. I think whether it's Emily Paik or one of the other young Mannum players in its centre, that's going to be, I mean, this is going to be a great game. And one goal last time, anything's possible tomorrow. I'm actually not going to pick anyone because I think it really seriously could go either way. And it could be the game that decides really who's going to play in fourth. If Mannum win it, I can't see the other two teams catching them. But if Mypo win it, it's going to be interesting between Mannum and Mypo.
Yeah, it's going to be a thriller tomorrow, that one. Ramblers in with that crunch in the middle of the ladder as well. They're hosting the Southern Sun, so it will be a tough game for them, but they are playing at home.
I mean, last time they met, it was like a 50-odd goal difference between them. But that was early in the piece when Suns were unknown to Ramblers. So Ramblers know what they're up against. They know that the Suns come with a lot of height, be it in the defence end or the shooting end. So they know that their defenders, Caitlin Schubert and Molly Adler, are really going to have to work hard because they will give a height away to both of the Suns shooters, no matter who they put on court. They have such versatility there. I can't see that Ramblers will beat them. I think the Suns will win. The Suns won't want to lose because of the position that they sit in. But Ramblers will have a good crack at them. And if they can get their feeding through Nikki DiMichele into their goalies, Kanisha Seidel and Helena Altman, they'll make the Suns work, but I can't see the Suns going down, not in this game.
And we've got the Mallee Storm hosting the Coorong Cats. Should be another win for the Storm, you would think.
I think that the Cats are just, they have struggled. Since they had another injury last week, since they had those early injuries, they've just found it very, very hard to come back. They don't have the selection of players around in those country areas to be able to replace players. Like the teams that are slightly closer to Murray Bridge, therefore slightly closer to Adelaide, can bring in players from down in town. But the Cats would find that very, very hard. But they'll go out there and they'll have a go. And as we said last week, you never know at the end of the season. Sometimes a bottom team can just upset a top team.
And the Imperials are on the bye, so that leaves us with Jervois and Taylor Bend. No finals ramifications here, but give us a tip for this one, Pat.
There's been a lot of competitiveness between these two teams for a long time, right back when I started coaching. Last time Jervois won, I think they were a bit of a surprise package to Taylor Ben. This time around, Taylor Ben have improved, but then so has Jervois. So I'm going to say this one's going to be a close one again. Taylor Ben will want the win because they have a bye in round 18, and they'll want to finish their season on a high. Jervois aren't going to let them have it very easy. So this could be anyone's game.
Should be a fantastic game and a fantastic round. Thank you very much for all that, Pat. Enjoy the action tomorrow. Good luck to everyone taking the court. And Pat, we'll check in with you again next Friday.
No worries. Thanks, Dan.